Welcome back to your new favorite show on the internet, FIFA Global Series Extra. And now help me in welcoming one of my favorite people in the competitive FIFA scene, the very talented Dan Gaskin. What's up, Dan?
It feels a little bit weird that I'm not there with you, to be honest, Jimmy, but a pleasure to even be with you, despite the fact I'm all the way over in Bucharest right now.
It just makes me feel so good inside seeing your beautiful face, Dan. All right, tell me about Bucharest. How are you enjoying it so far?
It's actually hot. I'm used to Bucharest being freezing cold the last times I was here, but we got off the plane, it was sunny, I had to take my coat off.
Wow.
I love this place. It feels like home the amount of times we were here last year.
Well, now you're there ahead of the first major event of the season. What are you most looking forward to?
Honestly, the new rule that was introduced where we invited the top 4 players from FIFA 19 to this tournament guarantees us peak FIFA, like the best FIFA we're going to get because we've got the best players in the world. So Mo Alba, Nicholas, Maestro, Uston from the PS4, and then Tasari, Rafsu, Goal Machine, and Razek. Like, those are 8 mammoth names, not to mention the ones that have qualified. So I'm just excited for the best FIFA we can get.
No, it should be a very exciting weekend. Now, of the 64 players, 20 of them are hailing from 2 countries, Germany and Brazil. Germany have 13 players and Brazil have 7. Do you feel like that helps them potentially win the tournament because they have so many numbers there?
I mean, usually yes, we should play the numbers game, but how long were we saying like a German hadn't won the World Cup? But finally, we saw Mo Alba win the World Cup, so maybe he'll be able to carry that through. Maybe Mo Alba will win this tournament, but we've got previous champions. We've got like Dito here, we've got Megabit. Those are other German players. Lost in the Waves, one of the most attacking players in the scene. Like, Germany just breeds incredible FIFA players, and I think, yeah, we've got a real big chance of one of them taking the title.
Well, now for this second season in a row now of Global Series points. Last year was the first time it was introduced. Now, if you win this tournament, it's 2,000 points, which would be a great way to get started and really kind of hedge your spot to get into the FIFA E-World Cup later on down the year. How important is it, do you think, to get those points? That's one. And secondly, what do you think the players are going to do maybe differently knowing how this point system works?
I think the point system and also the system of where you're invited if you finish into the top 4 is going to make people feel a lot more safe after they've placed well, because you get your 2,000 points and then you also guarantee qualification to the next tournament, which means you might not have to play in the qualifiers, depending on when the qualifiers are. I think a lot of people will try and get more points early and then drop off if they feel like they've got enough. They'll have a kind of an indication from last season as to how much they'll need. But some people, I think, took it a little bit too easy last season, and we might see them just constantly push, qualify for every tournament just to ensure they get to that playoff spot.
Now, Joxid was a big name last year who came off doing really well at the start and then kind of fizzled because he went back to school and did some other things and then tried to regain that form that he had at the beginning of the season and couldn't do it. Kind of speaks to your point about trying to maintain consistency throughout the season. But even with Tex last year, he started off hot but still couldn't do anything of significance at the FIFA E-World Cup.
Yeah, I think Tex's situation is somewhat different because I feel like it was more a pressure thing rather than his ability. Ability-wise, in my opinion, I think he was still the best FIFA 19 player, and he looks good coming into FIFA 20 as well. I think he's here to prove a point. He's won the first title in the last couple of FIFAs, so we'll see if he can do it again this year. But consistency is key. It's always going to be very difficult when patches come out and the game can change quite drastically, really, from early iteration of FIFA to the late iteration of FIFA. So it's about trying to be able to adapt to those patches and make sure you can be the best as you can. Even though Joxan was amazing at the start, he still picked it up and found his form late despite the middle bit. So, like, these pro players, yes, they'll have, like, downslopes, but they always manage to find their way back up to the top.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here in a second, but I have another question first. How are you feeling about the new esports kits and tifos that are in the game?
So I love this. I love that we're integrating more of the esports stuff into FIFA 20 because we can give it more to the public eye. People who maybe don't know as much about the esports and the competitive scene, they can finally see it. I mean, we've got big kits like hashtags, for example. They're an actual football club, so it's great to see them added into the scene. I think this is a perfect way for some teams that maybe want to display what they're made of or want to display that we can be a good team. We can be in FIFA. You guys should support us in real life, and maybe hashtag will get that. And then you've also got the esports side, like Footwiz, like SK, teams that are massive organizations in the esports world. And it's just a chance for not only players to show off their stuff, but fans as well to use the kits in-game. And I think that's going to be great for all fans and players involved.
Do you have any favorites of the kits and tifo?
I like the complexity one as well. I think that's very clean. I like the pink on the SK one that you just saw on your screen. The Tifos, now, don't get me started on these. These are amazing. Like
They are pretty amazing.
Mo Alba in the game, Nicholas Tech. So basically, they've taken every face from someone who won something significant. So whether it's a playoff victory, or whether it was the World Cup victory, or whether it was the E-Nations with Dax and Maestro. So anyone who earned a title has been given that special tifo, like Dylan Mike, the youngest ever FUT Champions Cup winner. I think it's amazing for them, and I'm sure they're so delighted they can show their family and friends. I think it's wicked, and I hope we see more of this as the season goes on.
No, I think it's super exciting as well, and I'm just kind of wondering when we're going to get our stuff, Dan. Okay, now, last question. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think is going to win this tournament? And then secondly, I got two things for you. Who do you think is going to really burst onto the scene? Maybe a name we're not as familiar with.
So I think that winning the tournament, I'm going to back Tex. I think that he's going to be here with a point to prove, and I think this style of FIFA that we're seeing at the moment, very defensive. It's hard to break down. Tex is one of the best players at using skill moves, and I think he's going to thrive in this environment because people are just going to drop back, they're going to defend, and he's just going to break them down, and it's going to be comfortable for him. That's my prediction. I think Lost in the Waves, I know he's not really a breakthrough player, but he didn't hit the heights I think he could have last season, and I really think that we might see something from him because, again, a very attacking player, very good at breaking down, very good at using skill moves, very fast counter-attacking. So I think Lost in the Waves could do bits at this tournament, but I'm also expecting him to do a lot throughout this season.
Well, if Tex wins this again, I think we can consider it tradition at this point because that'll be 3 years in a row that he's won the first major of the season.
It would be crazy, really. And I mean, he's got an announcement coming as well. Like he'll be joining a new esports organization. It's a massive year for him, Tex. So we'll see whether he can find that form or whether maybe this is going to be his downslope. He's getting a little bit older now. He's closing in on 19. We know that it's 18 is your peak age, apparently, according to Dylan, Mike, and Tex. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for your time and enjoy this weekend in Bucharest.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, and I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
All right, Dan Gaskin, everyone. And as a reminder, FUT Champions Cup Stage 1 kicks off live from Bucharest on Friday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. UK time at twitch.tv/EA Sports FIFA. And it runs all weekend long. The 64 players get whittled down to one, who will then become our first champion of the FIFA 20 Global Series. And of course, be on the lookout for some very special Twitch drops during the broadcast too. And all right, that is it from me. So thank you for watching The Extra. And enjoy the first FUT Champions Cup this weekend, and we'll see you next week.